And
I'm sorry, I have a question. I'm Cherokee, and I live in Sioux, and I've lived in Victoria, and I get bullied and harassed and discriminated against every day, and nobody does anything. So you say to stand up, and when I do, because I'm an Indigenous rights activist for 36 years from the States with the American Indian movement and for Leonard Peltier, and all they do is sit there and laugh. And so I have a question. What about when we stand up, when I stand up? Nobody's there to defend me. They allow it. I get bullied and abused like 40 times a day. So what do we do then? I'm
going to answer that question, and then I'm going to pass the mic to Audrey. And I'm going to answer that question with a small story, if that's okay with you, about the late Chief Seymour. So we've had many incidences of racism in this community, and we still do. And that's something that we all need to know and understand. And again, when you do hear something, stand up. The chief and I were sitting there one day, and there was an incident that happened. I won't get into it right now because it'll take too long. But the chief called me into his office, and he said, we've done so much work building relationships. We've done so much work, and yet still these acts of racism happen. And I sat there, and he said, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. I don't know if it's worth it to do this anymore. And I looked at him, and I sat there for a long time, because in a lot of ways, he was right. It is, I can't imagine how hard that must be to experience that all the time, and to feel alone, and to not have people standing there. And I looked at him and I said, Chief, the only thing that I can work towards and that I can work for is that there will be more people standing with you and behind you than there will against you. And that's what we keep having to work forward to. And he said, well, then I guess we have work to do.
I'd just like to thank you for coming and attending and asking the hard questions. So we do have a lot of work to do. It's taken years and generations to unfold the hurt, the shame, the trauma of residential schools. And we are still building those bridges. And the amount of orange shirts that we have here today, from the very youngest here to our toddlers, to our elders in the seats, it takes time to undo the layers, to unfold the hurt and the trauma, to speak our truths, to be heard, to use your 2 ears for listening, to use your voice to speak the truth. So it does take time. It's not going to change overnight. And I am grateful for every single one of you for having the strength and the courage to be the change within your family, to be the change within your community, to be the change within your school. A lot of our schools had discussions or guest speakers about truth and reconciliation. What does it mean to you? How can you be the change? How can you be the difference? And I really focus on our youth because that's how we're going to make that change. That's our opportunity to open the doors. You know, I'm the first generation that was not sent to residential school. And that is, that's a scary thought that I'm only the first generation that did not get sent away to residential school.